All right, we're gonna do a quick video on how a lawsuit works. So lawsuits, there's a bunch of stages. So first stage typically is the demand letter stage. You'll get something in certified mail typically, maybe you have to sign for it, and it looks a lot like a lawsuit, but it's not actually a lawsuit. Don't be scared. It's just a demand letter. Demand letters are written to scare the heck out of you, and they often do. You should hire a lawyer when you get a demand letter, regardless of what it is, because you need the lawyer to sort of pick apart the demand letter and decide what it means, right? Nothing has been filed with the court, so it's not a lawsuit. You don't need to respond yet. You ought to just get a lawyer to sort of look it over and talk to you about it.
Stage 2.
Lawsuit filing stage. This is the whole cool thing on TV.
Are you Jonathan Sparks?
You're like, yeah, I am. And then they're like,
You've been served.
and you're like, then you have usually about 30 days, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less, depending on the state you're in, to file what's called an answer. Answer is stage 3. In order to file your answer, you need to hire a lawyer typically to do it, and you need to deny all of the stuff in their allegations in their lawsuit that are not true. Then you enter into all this other stuff. Usually around the time that the answer is filed in lawsuits today, because there's so many of them, people will actually settle the lawsuit or start negotiations, and you'll file what's called continuances, and you'll sort of distance stuff out and kick the can down the street while both lawyers on both sides are negotiating a settlement. If it doesn't settle though, which is maybe 10% of lawsuits, you get into the discovery phase, which is the next one. Discovery is where you take all of your evidence that everybody has and you compile it and you go through it and you rigorously study it and you research the legal claims and you see your defenses, and it's just a big cluster, right? The cruddy part about it is that this part gets very expensive for legal work because these lawyers, like myself, we have to take this huge bin of like files and we just have to read through every word and just... So a lot of incentive to settle before you get to discovery phase. So once you get through discovery, if you're still there and you haven't settled, then you go to the actual trial. The trial usually is just a bench trial, meaning that you have a judge, not a jury. But sometimes you do have a jury. If you have a jury, it takes a lot longer because you have to select the jury. The other thing to talk about is that there's different structures for billing for lawyers that you hire. So some of them, they might do it on contingency basis, meaning that they'll take 30 to 40% around of the total amount that they get from the other side, and they'll sort of float the legal bills for you until that. But most lawsuits, the vast majority of them, are commercial litigation between businesses and vendors and things, and those don't typically have a contingency fee. We can get into all of that later, but anyway, that's everything that you need to know, quick and dirty, on how a lawsuit works.